crimes have they committed?
All right, guys, we're gonna skip the prelude. So, welcome back to tonight's live stream. We're going to be streaming President Trump's address to the nation. Okay, a few of you asked if we were going to stream it, and I said, okay, I'm going to come out of my hiatus of streaming at night, and I'm going to do this with you guys. It is meant to be the most monumental announcement that Trump has given in a long time. And a few reports are claiming that it is going to be so monumental that it is going to be equal to the announcement given by JFK during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this is like. Guys, jump in the chat. Let's have a conversation. Gardening, thank you. Happy America Pride Month. Yeah, happy America Pride Month. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now, my gear has been acting up. So if anything misbehaves, I want to apologize in advance. It turns out that the hard drive is failing. So I'm planning to fix things. Yeah. Now you heard that applause. I pushed it as soon as I said Happy America Pride Month. And JM21999, I pushed the button now and there's a delay. So I'm just going to calm down and let's just have some fun. So I saw a report while I was preparing for the show. I was putting my youngest to bed, and here's the thing that bothers me. Okay, I started seeing reports. We had Hickok's family this morning tell us that essentially there were. Hopefully the president brings the receipts tonight. I hope so too. Hickok's family told me that the news stations were essentially planning to back out. I didn't believe that they were going to do that, but you know what? I saw a story concerning that earlier today. Goodness, I thought I bookmarked it. Just give me a second. I'm going to look for it because I know I marked it on my phone. So it's essentially official. Hold on. All right. Looks like I didn't bookmark it after all. However, you have Caroline Levitt calling out the mainstream media. They're essentially panicking before anything is announced.
Likewise, to the degree that this speech tonight is about elections past, not elections upcoming, the 2020 election has had dozens of recounts, lawsuits, audits. 2024 election widely believed to be safe and secure. There's not really any question about that. A lot of people look at this.
Because it was too big to rig?
Well, I think a lot of people look at this
There's a
and
massive amount of votes for this president. That's why he's in the Oval Office right now.
No one disputes that. And there were a significant amount of votes for Joe Biden, who won in 2020. I mean, I think the question is, why is the president unable to let this go?
Well, first of all, Garrett, I think part of the problem is that the media has refused to acknowledge that tens of millions of Americans across the country share the concerns of this president about the sanctity of our elections. And your premise of your question, you're jumping ahead to a conclusion in this speech before even hearing it yourself. I think that everyone should tune in tonight, including the people in this room, and you should report on the president's speech and the findings that he is going to reveal in this speech with a little bit of honesty and a little bit of integrity, because it will shock you if you have an honest eye listening to the president tonight, and everything he is saying will be backed by facts and by evidence that will be provided this evening.
Oh my
and again,
goodness.
Garrett, I think all Americans, Democrat, Republican, should agree that we are the greatest country in the history of the world. We should have the safest and most secure elections in the history of the world. And what the president will be speaking about tonight will show you that perhaps that is not the case, and we need to make some adjustments moving forward, including the Save America Act, as Rachel pointed out, is a key legislative priority for this president on Capitol Hill, and he wants to see all senators and members of Congress voting in favor of the Save America Act, because it's crucially important as we move forward. Aisha.
Wow.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
The pink is for you.
So that is Caroline Levitt's take, and she's teasing us, telling us that it is going to be monumental. JM2199 says news stations don't want the truth out because remember they were complicit in the stolen elections. They are just as guilty as the international criminals. That is true. Now, here is what time is it? Okay, we have about 10 minutes. I'm tracking Associated Press, and I also want to track the White House YouTube channel. I prefer to stream from the White House YouTube channel. I don't trust any of these other platforms. Okay, hold on. So here is AOC. All right, so AOC is asking channels, networks not to air the speech of a sitting president. Okay, AOC freaks out over Trump's speech tonight, pleading with networks not to air it. Is she nervous about something? Okay, let's listen to her.
I don't think that we should be contributing to any platforming of lies about our election. And so I think that, many news outlets oftentimes may receive transcripts. And I think that we have an ethical obligation to not air things that undermine our election.
I totally forgot, JM21, that she's your cousin. It says my cousin is a dirty communist fascist. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thanksgiving dinners for the whole family must be very awkward.
Things that undermine our election.
Why is the mainstream media taking their marching orders from her? The White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt today firing back at her first on-camera briefing since returning from maternity leave, declaring that tens of millions of Americans share the president's concerns about election integrity.
Yeah, we just watched this together, so hearing it might not add to. Now, I am tracking this on Associated Press. I need to open that tab as well. Because what I really want is to watch it on the White House YouTube channel. I don't trust any of these outlets. Okay, yes. Okay, that's Associated Press. So they're already streaming, but White House isn't streaming yet. I don't trust any of these outlets at all. I don't. Gardening says NBC and ABC are the two that said they were not going to show it. Yeah, I remember I retweeted it. I think that's what I did. That is what I did. Hold on. My computer is so slow right now. Pray for my computer so it doesn't just crap out in the middle of this live stream. So for those of you who are joining and maybe you're wondering where we've been all week, we've been live streaming at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's when we moved over to. We will occasionally be live streaming in the evenings until I get some things in order. Reason being that I did that just to kind of spend more time with the family, be more present. And, I'm going to ask you guys to just keep praying for me because, like you can see, I'm dealing with technical issues. I'm transitioning through a few things. Hickok's family is in the chat and I press the applause button and it takes a few seconds to play. There it is. So Hickok's family, it would have been weird if you didn't show up because you essentially led the charge asking us to do this. Yeah, so this is the post that I wanted to read. Essentially, it's from Eric Doherty, and he says it's official. ABC and NBC are refusing to carry President Trump's 9 p.m. primetime White House address on election integrity out of panic, and will instead play it on their live show, their Live Now streams with far less viewers. The networks are terrified. Look, let's see. Lost track of time, Hickok's family said. Then she said, How is it, Lynn? Ready for this? Well, Lynn should answer that question. So we're tracking both the White House live stream and the Associated Press. In 4 minutes, we'll just maybe the one that's up, we'll just cut over to it. So we have AOC, we have ABC and NBC. I believe, hope I didn't. Yeah, ABC and NBC refusing to air the stream, the speech. Gardening says, I have 4 boys here that are being so loud. It's gonna be fun. Look, family is great, and you know what? I had to put my youngest to bed tonight. I had to put him to bed, and he fell asleep just in time for me to get up and rush upstairs to start the live stream. So right now, the question on everybody's lips is, what is President Trump going to say? Joe Rogan, and I played this morning. Okay, I played this morning, and essentially, he called out the fraud that happened, the absolute fraud that happened in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Why is it that large population centers, like places like Los Angeles and New York, are almost always run by the Democrats?
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna. That was the wrong video. That was the wrong video. Okay, that was the wrong video. It's further down, I think. Anyway, let's see. Yeah. So, okay, let me open up the Associated Press stream because I don't want it to stall once. Look, I clicked on this and it's frozen already. Like, it's gonna be a lovely day. Hickox family says there's rumors that Trump will indicate that China intervened with the 2020 election, but that's just rumors. Let's see. Let's see what happens eventually. I am curious. Excuse me. I'm really curious to see what he says. I need to close this. I'm curious to see what he says, and I'm tempering my expectations. There's this thing where it's like there's this huge thing that's about to happen, and then you're looking forward to it, and then it just turns out to be a dud. I honestly hope this is not a dud. Caroline Levitt has hyped this to no end. Okay, the White House just went live, so I'm going to switch over to the White House. I prefer to follow the stream on the White House, so I'm going to put this to bed. I'm going to put come on. I'm going to put the Associated Press live stream to bed. I'm just going to leave them here as a standby stream, but of course the White House is the main thing. So we're going to, why am I not, okay, so we're live. JM21999 says, wasn't just China, Germany and England too. Okay. So there were a lot of people who didn't want, there were a lot of countries or interests, foreign interests who interfered with the election as per the rumors. Let's see what happens. Now, it is a black mark. It is a black mark. I'm going to just open the stream over here on my monitor down here, because while I'm cutting away to look at these other tabs, I don't want to miss what's going on. It's a black mark on ABC and NBC's reputation were essentially in the trash with everything they did during the pandemic and the 2020 election, January 6th, the summer of love. Like, we all had a front row seat watching these people essentially run their reputation into the ground because they hate President Trump. Like they just they hate President Trump, and they decided to set their reputation on fire just to stick it to him. And you know, I don't know. I don't know why they would do that, apart from the fact that, I don't know, guys. Why do you think? Like I'm not okay. So I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything. I do my best to do as much research as I can, but I don't know everything. So why do you think they would set their reputation on fire and do such a stupid thing as to destroy their reputation? Okay, President Trump is live.
Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster. After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women's sports, crime ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in more than 6 years. Just happened. It was just given out. The media reported it, and we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nation's policy, because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of health care. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of health care is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children, so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. Mm-hmm. So for that, go to TrumpAccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. One where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings.
Wow.
We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files.
Wow.
That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country, a standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it, made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026, this is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review of state voter rolls and public records, They identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that.
Yeah.
Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody. And it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat?
Yep.
The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, there's going to be plenty of crying tomorrow. I think there's going to be plenty of crying tonight on TDSBC. Maybe we'll pop over to see them whining about the speech. Well, let's talk about... Well, I'm tempted. I'm so tempted. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so the ad showing up on the videos, YouTube, I don't know, somehow the ads were turned off and they were just turned back on. They were just turned back on today. So that's why you're getting to see the ads now, Hickox. You said called it. Yeah, well, look, I don't know, guys. I'm going to read the chat and then we're just going to have a conversation real quick about this because there's a lot to say. The FCC needs to drop the hammer on news media, especially the so-called public utilities. Yeah, like ABC and NBC, who refused to cover a sitting president's speech. All right? ABC and NBC refused to cover a sitting president's speech. Look, what they've done to President Trump. Okay, so what did I write in my post? I wrote, anyone still trusting these hacks after everything they've pulled deserves to be deceived. They treat President Trump unfairly, then cry victim when he calls them out on it. In case you're not following me yet on X, please consider following my account on X Crossroads IRL. Okay, very simple. So I basically retweeted that because it's crazy what we're watching. We saw President Trump, a sitting president, have his account terminated on X and on Facebook. We all watched that and I couldn't believe my eyes. You couldn't believe your eyes. So yeah, the FCC totally needs to drop the hammer on these people. And of course, they're going to say it's sending a chilling effect. President Trump is attacking people who don't agree with him. It's an attack on the freedom of speech. Hickox family says, hold these corrupt media accountable. JM says treason. Hickox family says, I wish they changed the legal standing. And JM replies, to be honest, treason needs to be punishable. It already is. It already is. I don't know when treason stopped being punishable by death. Okay, can someone tell me when that changed? Hickox says, time for people to get shiny new bracelets. Look, all of this is all well and good. I'm excited that finally we're seeing movement. I went over to the whitehouse.gov website, and I was looking for the drop. And I'm yet to see a link for the drop. He says that it is okay, ensuring election integrity. Okay, here it is. Here it is, guys. I'm going to share the link with you guys in the chat. All right, you guys deserve for me to help you make this easy. I'm going to share it with you guys in the chat. All right. Yeah, so okay, so I see a first-time chatter. Briand Ilhe, I don't know how to pronounce that, but first-time chatter, welcome to the family. All right, so I'm reading the chat, so I'm sorry that I'm going far behind because I didn't want to, read while President Trump was giving his speech. So essentially the files have been dropped, and let me see details. So here oh my God, guys, I'm just going to be hitting download. So it's a zip file. I'm downloading the zip files. Like it's almost like you want to download them so that tomorrow you don't wake up and a federal judge just ruled that the White House has to take down that page. We're downloading it now. Okay, we're downloading it now because look, we know enough of these guys that they could pull something as stupid as that. A federal judge just ruled that the page has to be taken down. Jeez. Okay. Let's keep going. Bracelets. Yeah, Hickok says, we all said the voting machines were hacked, but no, most secure election, my ass. Look, I was all the way in Nigeria and I saw it was rigged. Hickok says, anyway, for several weeks now, I felt like some of the things that I've said have prevented the channel from getting circulated by YouTube. And things like what we're discussing tonight is one of the things that they're shadow banning on. My channel is too small, okay? It's small enough for them to get away with doing this to my channel. And again, you know that YouTube is being run by Gemini, their AI. So what's going on right now is that Gemini is reading through the transcripts in real time. They're reading through the transcripts in real time and deciding what they're going to block and what they're going to release. So they essentially are censoring in real time, but they're not calling it censorship. It's the AI doing all of that. Plausible deniability. All right. So Hickok says dead family. Sorry, I said dead family. Dead people voting yet again. Yeah. And then, okay, lots of celebration in the chat. Hickok's family said Democrats are still going to cry and call it a lie. Yeah, we just watched, where's that video? We just watched JM's cousin, AOC. Yeah, we watched her crying. I'm going to play it again. She's crying. Well, don't air lies.
I don't think that we should be contributing to any platforming of lies about our election, and so I think that, many news outlets oftentimes may receive transcripts, and I think that we have an ethical obligation to not air things that undermine our election.
So she's telling us, don't believe the things you just downloaded. Okay, so guys, don't worry, I have the downloads. Okay, don't leave the stream to download the files. Don't worry, I have the downloads. At the end of the stream, if the page goes away, you guys know what to do. You let me know, and I'll make it available. I've downloaded all of the zip files. I'm gonna settle down and just start going through these files. It's gonna be a slog. I have books that I want to read, But man, this is going to make for some some light reading. Let's see. Hiccup says, I'm loving this. JM says, again, treason. We know the punishment for treason. Then, so there's a link. Brian Dilhay. Is it Dilhay or Dilhay? Gosh, I'm sorry. Hope I'm not butchering your last name. Well, Brian, thank you. We appreciate you joining. Is this your first time chatting? Is this your first time finding our channel? I mean, I would love to know. Okay. Let's see. Hickok's family says, good call. Look, I grew up in the third world. I don't trust the government. I don't trust any of these people. I don't. As soon as something drops, I'm downloading it. I'm downloading it and then I'm making copies. Let's see. Hickok's family says, good call. Yeah. JM says Trump has even scratched. Okay. Trump hasn't even scratched the surface. He doesn't want to embarrass many of the nations and organizations who were complicit in this. That is true. Hickok says the legality of treason has been pushed to the size of a pinhole. So it's now very difficult to charge people with treason now. And who is responsible for that insanity? Who is responsible for that insanity? JM says, it's okay. You don't have to repeat some of the things we say. No. I love reading the chat, guys. I have a contract with you guys. And that is that the chat is important. All right. The chat is important. And one of the things that I want to try to do with this show, whenever we go live, is to value what you have to say. I'm very much aware that when we have a lot of people in the chat, I won't be able to cover everything. I'm very much aware, but as long as I can still do it right now that the channel is still small or smaller, I'm going to do my best to keep my promise to you. So I'm going to try. And it's not comfortable, but I love reading the chat. Okay. Let's see. I will not say those extreme. I agree. Okay. My crazy cousin. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Brian says, this is your second time finding our channel or second time chatting. Okay. First time chatting, second time finding the channel. Wow. I'm excited to have you. Hope you hang around. Then Hickok says Congress did the change. Of course they did. Of course they did. You know, like there's so many things. There's so many things to say about this entire deal. Let's see. Non-citizens on state voter rolls. Michigan voter registration investigation. China's acquisition and exploitation of American voter data. Vulnerabilities in electronic. This is just crazy, guys. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oops. Windows cannot complete. Okay. I need to unzip it. Extract all. So, you and I were not crazy. We weren't crazy when we said repeatedly, this doesn't pass the smell test. You and I were not crazy when we said these 2020 elections feel funny. It doesn't feel right. Something is off. I'm going to open it in the browser. All right. So guys, it's opening and it's real. I just confirmed that it's real. There's some redactions, of course, but it's real. Okay. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. Okay. But I have to be careful with what I'm going to do with this because I don't want to. Okay. I'm not going to say anything here. So it's real, guys. So let's see. JM says, but I want your channel to grow, my friend, so I will be mindful of things I say. No, the channel doesn't get affected per se based on what the chat does say. It gets mostly affected by the things that are said in the video. And so that's where it starts. Then channels that get reported for what happens in the chat is a different layer altogether. And that's for huge channels, usually. And you guys are decent. You guys don't go off the rails wishing people get assassinated or murdered. That doesn't happen here. So I don't think we have to worry about that. Hickok says, no, pronouncing his name was the second Dilihe. Oh, okay. Dilihe. Okay. I'm learning. Okay, so Brian Dilihe. Is Brian still here? Gardening says, will the Dems keep questioning all Trump's nominees about the 2020 election and if Trump or Biden won? They will. They will. We've seen enough of these clowns that even when hoaxes have been debunked, they will keep repeating those hoaxes. Hickok's family says, of course they will. They will. Yeah, they will. JM says, I wonder what those 5 swing states that all stopped the counting around midnight then did data drops that all went to Sleepy Joe. Look, anyone who doesn't call it, who doesn't see it, who doesn't say exactly what we all saw that night, okay, is either blind or retarded or downright evil. Okay. Why did I go from 0 to 1 million to say that they're evil? Because, look, when you willingly or willfully lie about something that can literally shift the direction of an entire country, all right, in the negative, to a negative end. Because when people don't trust their elections, they don't trust their institutions, they don't trust the government, it will literally destroy the United States of America. And there are people who are depending on the United States of America to succeed. The world's economy depends on the United States. The world's economy does. It does. So if the United States folds, China isn't going to pick up the slack. They can't, because their economy is a paper economy. Anyone that's telling you that China is a rising power is smoking something. Their economy is a paper economy, is propped up by the CCP. Every company that comes out of China is backed by the CCP. It's not a real business. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant. So I get turned off whenever I hear people talk about China like China is this big bad. China is just, they built 1,000 ships last year. With what kinds of chips? They don't have the military grade chips that the US has. They're trying to steal the technology. That's why they're so hot on Taiwan. They want to take over Taiwan so that they can steal the blueprints and reverse engineer the chips from Taiwan. And that's why Trump has, they started the process, but Trump has to complete that move from Taiwan back to the mainland here in North America. They have to move it because China is chomping at the bits to take over Taiwan and also, conscript the engineers who worked in those factories. Brian approves of the way I pronounce his surname, so Dilihe. All right, it's a pleasure, Brian. I hope you stick around. Let's see. Hickok says, okay. This is a conversation between both of y'all, so I'm not gonna read it. All right, guys. So, did you guys find this live stream interesting? It's 1 hour. We're going to keep it short. We watched it together, and look, there's so much to unpack. Okay, I'm gonna wait on you guys. Tomorrow we're going to go live at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to take a look at a few of these files tonight, and then tomorrow maybe I'll mention a few things that I may have seen. Let's see. Hold on. No, brother, read it. It's about the 2020 election. Sorry. JM, I live. So, Hickox, is this directed at me when you said read it? It's about the 2020 election, or is this? I'm confused. All right. Brian says, thank you. Well, I hope you stick around, Brian. I hope you subscribed. I hope you stick around. JM says, China is not on the same scale militarily. However, they have more bodies they are willing to sacrifice than we do. Plus, our people don't have the stomach to do what is necessary. And Trump knows it. And the Department of War knows it. That's why they have to invest massively in these AI data centers, because they need to switch the theater of war from manned aircraft and hand-to-hand combat or deployment of physical soldiers to drones. Okay, like it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And now the Democrats are fighting data centers. Why is it that these guys fight anything that makes America stronger? All right. It's crazy. Now, I wish I could keep going. Like, I don't know. I'm tempted to just keep talking to you guys. I know it's late. I know most of us have jobs tomorrow. And sometimes I wish that I could just do a 2-hour live stream and, just keep going. But I'm going to just keep these live streams short and sweet. I'm going to try and make them as entertaining as I can make them, as informative as I can make them, keep them short and sweet, and then see how the channel grows, okay? So thank you guys for hanging out. Let me see if the button works. It doesn't work. It takes a few seconds to work. So usually we do a roll call. All right, so I'm just going to do a roll call without the applause, okay? Gardening, thank you so much as per usual. I know you're busy with the boys, but thank you so much for hanging out. Hickox family, thank you. You're amazing. Thank you for hanging out, and thank you for inspiring this live stream. JM21999, thank you so much. It's always great to have you in the chat. And Brian Dillihay, thank you so much. I hope you stick around. We used to live stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, but we switched over to 10 a.m. Eastern. Then occasionally, like tonight, we do an evening live stream. So these are irregular for now. We're doing more of daytime live streams. So maybe hope you can join us for the daytime live streams when we hang out and cover the emerging stories. All right. So thank you so much. Let's see. Thank you so much, guys. We have to go, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Okay. So it's been an amazing bit of news. I hope you're able to download the files. I hope you're able to download the files and begin to dig into them. If you see anything that's interesting, all right, please go ahead and let us know. Brian, yeah, thanks. I hope to see you in the chat. So everyone, thank you so much. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.